What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Lord PeteyTV here. Now, I'm bringing you all this exclusive first look kind of informational about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I was invited to play for a couple of hours with some other amazing content creators in the end of December, and this is the gameplay that I ended up having. I wanted to show you all a couple of pieces of content that I thought was very interesting and things that I feel that are improvements what they did in the past. So I'm gonna end up showing you a little bit of this amazing game, and I'm gonna give you all a little bit of commentary while it's happening. I'm gonna try to let you all kind of sink in to this amazing game and kind of feel yourself immersed as talking over what types of changes and things that are happening throughout this whole entire game. So please take a look, enjoy, and I hope you all really enjoy it. So the first thing I'm going to bring you in here and have you take a look at is you're going to end up walking around right now with Hans or I should say stealthing around this water, because you ended up finding some ladies that were cleaning things in the river. So Hans tells you to distract. Now the reason why I brought this in is because the stealth feature looks fantastic and feels fantastic, and actually, in my personal opinion, it feels better than the first version in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So I think it's really something to take a look at. This next amazing thing is a cutscene that is a feeling of showing how they're bringing the past information into this present game for people that haven't either A, played the first game, or B, need those new feelings to show you why Henry is doing what he is doing.
We did a fine job.
Now this is the menu screen that we're ending up showing you here. Now, there is lots of different things and parts of this menu screen that I did not expect 100% to see, but there is multiple bars and sub-bars, or sub-menus, I should say, throughout this whole entire thing. Now, as I was going through this, the people that were keeping an eye on us was kind of explaining to me what was going on and what all of these things were, and kind of explaining these are all the abilities and things you can unlock using, skill points and things like that. I ended up really not doing any of that stuff because I was just kind of going with the flow of how things were. Now, what I really did find interesting was these are the real ways to show you how to grow as Henry, to grow, I should say, as a player as you're going through. You can even see the combat has different types of weapons, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later when we get into a little combat tutorial thing that ends up happening. And there's going to be this really interesting way to fight, and how everything has really cool combos that you pretty much essentially can learn right from the start. Now, something else I kind of thought was interesting was that I was trying to figure out how to scroll left and right, and I didn't realize that, like, because the screen looks a little disjointed to me, because I was trying to figure out how to read the shepherd thing on the right, because of this is being your reputations, and I ended up getting told that this whole entire screen will actually scroll for you. And you'll see that you can see all the information is right there, right in front of you, your maps, everything from the top of your screen. Normally, you pretty much use your bumpers, but now you can kind of just scroll left and right for all of your information. And it was really nice to do that because it is just jam-packed with information. And as you can see, you can also just use the bumper on top or just left and right. By the way, you actually get a belt attachment this time, which actually allows you to change your weapons mid-combat. So if you want to go from an axe to a sword or to a spear or so on and so forth, you have the ability to do that. The other thing is that you actually have preset gear sets. On the bottom, you'll see that there's like a green and a red shield, and it allows you to swap between those. You can actually end up doing that, so you can have one for stealth, one for charisma, one for, you know, just doing whatever you kind of need to do, or for attacking or whatever it might be. So it really gives you these really cool features that allows you to kind of go through. And as you can see here, you know, you have your statistics of what you're ending up looking at. And I really thought it was really cool because you have, you know, your reputation meter right there too. So you can kind of go through everything and learn what you're going through, what you're doing. Now this portion is a mission that I kind of want to show you all because I thought it was very interesting between myself and Lord Cognito when we were playing this, because we took two distinctly different paths. Now, as you can see here, we're talking to these individuals, and because of the way I ended up getting skill points and using them, and the way that we ended up communicating, you have two totally different, I would say outcomes. So I ended up speaking to these individuals a little bit more aggressively than I normally would, and you'll see that our outcome turns into a combat scenario. And when we go into that combat scenario, I'll kind of explain the changes in the combat type of stuff.
Calm down.
I told them that they went away, and that was for some reason why a trigger for them, and it was failed, and we ended up going into combat.
I had a bad feeling about them.
By the way, the first time I did it, I died. Second time,
What I want to know is
it
where
worked
they
a
are
little
now,
differently.
not where they were this morning.
We sent them to the rocks. It's a dangerous place. One false step, and it's a long way down.
I'll tell you what's dangerous. Pissing me off like you just did. Because it was in the rocks that we lost them yesterday. So it's kind of you to wait for us here. This'll be quick,
And we go
boy.
into combat.
Be...
And I failed, so I tried to do a little bit differently because I didn't have as much movability. I walked around them, see if I could get a better look at them, and they saw me and they instantly attacked me. So when you see what ends up happening is you know, I pull out my sword to start attacking, and one of the things I kind of noticed was you can see that the star, you have the left, the right, the up, and then you have a double down now. Instead of having, you know, a bottom left and a bottom right, they added both. You also have the ability to parry, to block, and everything like you did in the first one. They just act a little bit different. There's no center button anymore like there was in the first one. I did have a kind of a little bit of an issue trying to figure out how to block and do combat because I was a little rusty, but after a while I was able to do enough to block and to damage them to have them kind of leave me be. I will say fighting two targets this early in the game in the current situation was definitely harder than I anticipated, and I got very, very lucky, I will tell you that. See, he just says, leave me alone, and he ends up running away. I might have actually killed that dude, but from I can see here, he ends up, you know, running, and I just didn't care. I just killed him from behind. I was just like, you know, you guys are gonna hurt us. I do not care, and I took him out. Now, this is Lord Cognito's version of it. He ended up having a little bit of a difference, as I told you before, and you can kind of see how the communication of this was different and how the outcome was also different.
Some weapon at hand, in case there's any foul play.
Somewhere in the rocks. What do you know about it?
Who are you fellas?
We're from Lord von Burgos, and we're looking for those murderers.
I know Lord von Burgo's people, and I ain't never seen you before.
Lord
Now this part, you know, they kind of told you, you know, you have to arm yourself, you have to get ready for combat, essentially. To kind of put you in a place where, you know, you're ready for it. And you can see here that they're going to end up starting to talk about what they ended up doing. And, you know, you have an instant like, hey, we can fight, or try to talk him down. Now, if you noticed, his skill level and speech was higher than mine. So you'll see that his outcome was definitely different.
So tell me who you are and what you know about it.
I want to also point out that we were actually being told different things while this was going through, because I actually happened to be standing by him while this was happening, and we were being told the scenarios from the press team of how things were going. So,
we'll talk to Cold Steel. Who the hell are you, and what are you doing here?
as you can see here, he has, you know, 6 speech, I think it's a 10 stealth, and a 5 survival, where my middle option was actually, I think, a 7. And and you'll see things end up differently here. As you can see, he picks the, I think it's a clear off option,
Do you think I'm
whereas
a fool?
I picked the bottom line.
I know a
one.
robber when I see one. There's been lots of you types in these parts recently, and the fellas from the village are well pissed off. So get lost and don't come back, or we'll take our axes to you.
Easy there. We're no robbers, we're just
Other thing I
carrying out
want to
orders.
specify is
We've had a
that,
look
see how
round
it
here,
succeeded?
so we
You'll
can
see how
realize
he was
we're
bloody and I was not. They actually tell you to make sure you've been clean when you end up going through these, because people that are bloody or holding a weapon do have a different outcome for lots of different things. Now, as you can see here, this is one of the quote-unquote mini games, or the alchemy portion of stuff. We ended up having to make a potion. So when we ended up going through it, they tell you pretty much step by step on how to do it. I will say that this was probably not as easy as I was expecting it to be. So I ended up kind of going through it all a little by little. Now, as you can see, you know, we're pouring the different liquids in, and they tell you what to do, and it'll tell you, hey, you did this wrong. Let's see how it says, you know, you have to make sure, you have the correct thing. You have to make sure you're moving it up and down to make sure that it's burning on the, you know, or boiling, I should say. And over time, you'll understand and learn how this ends up going. And once I started figuring out how it was going, it was pretty interesting. The other thing is that, you know, the way you end up working your alchemy will depend upon how great your potions will be, and that's something I will say you will definitely need to work on in the future. And there are other mini games in this also. One of them being your blacksmith, because Henry is a blacksmith. This, in the first one, you know, you were able to, you know, like sharpen your weapons and stuff like that. You really weren't able to do much with it. With this version, you can actually make your own weapons if you get your own minerals and things like that, which is actually really, really cool. Not your armor. That is one thing that we've actually spoken to them about. That's not an option. But these mini games will kind of show you and give you a more in-depth informational about Henry and the others, or I shouldn't say the others, but like mostly Henry, on how he's working. The blacksmithing, from what I saw from one of the other content creators that was there, it looks really, really cool and a lot of fun. So I can definitely see how that's going to really, really help and change things. One interesting thing I want to talk about here is you can actually see and read the information on how to make the potions that you are requiring. And the reason why I'm saying that that is a really, really cool thing, that is, you know, your options there in your book, was because in the first one, you don't know how to read. So over time, you're seeing this informational growth of Henry because he is able to do this correctly. And here you see him throwing in the chamomile.
Before you put it on the flame,
And you flip the sand glass to get your timing.
it's got to be exact. Every grain of
Now, like I said, this was very, very weird for me to deal with
when the
because I was trying to do multiple things.
that's one turn. That's how long you have to boil the chamomile. Move the cauldron to the fire and wait until
Everything also is, for me, is very interesting to play because you have to kind of take yourself away from this modern thought process. Like they're turning over the sand glass is considered one turn. Now, people's hour like sand glasses might be different. Where nowadays we just put in a timer and it's like, oh, 15 minutes, you're done. So you really have to do that. See, bring the chamomile for one turn. And then we got to take some sage and grind it up.
with a mortar and pestle and drop it in the cauldron.
Which I think, like I said, I think that this really, really is cool, and it makes it even more, makes you feel more in depth and more. I wouldn't say in depth. I would say more
Have you ground it?
enveloped into the environments.
In the cauldron.
Here you put the sage in.
All you have to do now is decant it. Get a phial and pour it in.
Pour out the remedy. File. Pour.
Now let's see what you've brewed.
Pretty cool in my book.
Let's carry on.
Now this is the other mini game, which you probably remember from the first one. You know, your dice game.
Luck will be on my side.
So it took me a couple of minutes to remember how to play it. I actually got some help from the people that were there to kind of tell me how to do it, and it didn't take me long to kind of get myself
Someone's throwing
back
well.
in the way of things. As you can see, this is very quickly. As you can see, they do have the loaded dice. As you can see there, he has one loaded dice.
Aye, that'll do.
Damn! What's this?
See there, I got 400 points. I just score and pass, and I instantly won.
Can't.
Now, this is probably one of my favorite cutscenes from the start of the game as you end up starting to play. I just wanted to add this in there to show you the sound quality, the script writing, and also how amazing
Test Fortuna, you are.
Hans and Henry are both communicating in their friendship. But I think that this is a really, really good
What's that you keep yelling, Sir Hans?
outlier, or I should say, like, you know,
Good gracious,
underlying
you don't mean to tell me you don't
love
know
for each
Latin?
other throughout this whole
Apologies,
entire
Your
game.
Grace.
But I think
Fortunately, I was too
you
busy
just
shoveling
won't be
shit
able
and
to
picking
not want to see.
turnips to find time for studying Latin.
We shall have to rectify that. I can't have an ignoramus for a personal bodyguard.
And you can see that
Anyway,
they've
this
made their
Alden-
cinematics and everything
Alden-
so much better
whatever.
and beautiful,
What does
and
that
I
actually
love
mean?
that.
Audentes fortuna juvat. Fortune favors the brave.
And I just wanted to say thank you all very much for checking out this little bit of update, or I should say, first look at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This game, I think, is going to be one of the best games you're going to play all year. Pick it up, and you're going to play it, and you're gonna love it. I am so happy that they are able to help us play this game and give us the time that we can end up playing it. And you're going to see lots of content coming from me involving this game in the very near future. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button here on, on my YouTube page. I will also, I also have another video out on lordsofgaming.net involving Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And in addition to that, we have an interview, an Iron Lords podcast involving myself and Lord Cognito and Toby from the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 PR department, or I should say Warhorse Studios. So please make sure you check all of that stuff out. We also are going to have articles on lordsofgaming.net. I know that Mahmood is actually going to be assisting us there with that. So please make sure you check all of that stuff out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Warhorse Studios team, for making this game. I can tell that it was not easy. I think they said that it's been almost 5 years in the making. And I would say it definitely felt that way for me. And it really, really was amazing. So thank you so much for taking your time to be able to create this game for us. Have a fantastic week. Enjoy. Once again, my name is Lord PeteyTV. Make sure you pick up this game. Wishlist it now. It is out on February 4th. Thank you.